For the first part of my filmmaking career, I became known for being able to film action and motion.
I was born on the south side of the city,
But it was a style mostly built on reactivity.
in a rundown neighborhood.
And it worked. But after a while, I felt like my work wasn't improving.
In this lonely prison.
There was something missing, and I knew exactly where to find it.
I wish I could start all over, but I know
There's a reason photographers eventually turn into some of the best filmmakers. There's higher stakes involved with saying a lot in just one frame. And photographers often rely on a skill I think a lot of beginner filmmakers tend to miss. In the chaos that filmmaking can be at times, I had honestly forgotten how to slow down and just observe. Picking apart a noisy environment and being able to see what others might miss was something that I wasn't fully practicing enough. I realized that the greats were not just good at observing, but they were good at looking past the obvious. In 2022, I got a phrase tattooed on my wrist. It was not only great life advice, but the first piece of guidance I ever got in 2017 from a photographer whose work I really admired. It became the first thing I learned to see, and the first observation bucket that started to drive my work into a state of intentionality. Light became its own character in the story, and it was a way to drive curiosity. I found that the easiest way to practice looking for light was to practice black and white photography. Now, I had something I could look for, something to slice through the overwhelm of constantly asking myself, what the hell am I supposed to aim my camera at? I began leaning into filming shadows more often and understanding how the color of light could emphasize a feeling. And light was just the first step to molding my work into a new direction. If my sports films and personal films were going to make more of a statement, I was gonna need to train my eye even further. This one is hard. It required a sharper eye and lots of practice, but it was the fundamentals of eye-catching composition, and that is shapes. I found a lot of this inspiration through one of my favorite sports, the wide-angle photography of skateboarding, where curves, leading lines from obstacles, boards, and bodies all created these really stark points of intrigue. It was bold, and it was a perspective that I was really drawn to, and one that I started to try to implement into my commercial sports work. But I realized that it took restraint. It was almost too easy to film sports in the much more obvious way, with explosive handheld movement like we'd always default to. It was actually harder to force myself to slow down, observe my environment, and make a conscious decision on better, more impactful framing. One that used shapes and leading lines to communicate the true stunning nature of athleticism. So I had to start practicing more, and I started using a tripod a lot more often, taking lessons from photography and learning how to just be still and capture a single powerful frame. And eventually, I got comfortable making the call as a director to slow down a shoot more often and just trust my gut that the shot was going to be worth it. I was becoming quicker at seeing things, and my work was taking on a more intentional form. But there was still one other thing that I still needed to work on. When I think about driving home an emotion, I immediately think of music. But choosing a song is arguably the hardest part of the filmmaking process. Like my early filmmaking, my song choice was reactive instead of intentional.
I tried.
Until I started using MusicBed as an important tool for finding inspiration.
Perhaps it wasn't too strong.
MusicBed is the trusted music licensing source for filmmakers, brands, and agencies who care about craft. I love that I can easily find thousands of songs that add emotional complexity to my films because of MusicBed's commitment to finding relevant and authentic artists. They don't just accept anyone. It's real music from real people, and it's that type of curation that makes me feel really aligned with their belief in artistic integrity. Something that I feel has become pretty rare in today's film and media culture. I want to give them a huge thank you for being today's video sponsor. If you want to tell stories that are truly felt, you can switch to MusicBed and start your 14-day free trial with the link in my description. Evoking emotion is one of the hardest conceptual things to get great at. It's more complex than just observing light or shapes or textures. It's oftentimes not as concrete, and it goes even deeper than just learning how to recognize emotion on someone's face. This is still something that I'm actively working at. Once again, learning how to slow down and observe, not just faces, but body language, quiet moments, or even objects that can be associated with certain emotions. We live in a world where we no longer look up, and I really think that observation is becoming a lost art, and the time to slow down is becoming more and more sparse. But I truly believe that the only way to sharpen your skills is to immerse yourself, to actually pay attention, to maybe even leave the camera at home and just watch the world for a second. Because when the time comes, a project will roll around, the time will be limited, and you'll be quick to problem solve because you taught yourself a really valuable skill in the filmmaking world.